I'm the first one to do that. I bet you never knew that. Back like a tailbone. Who you got the tail on? If it ain't about me, about whole D, about face. If you ain't on higher, learn it. The soda in the pot and the fire, burn it.
Master is a 2022 psychological horror thriller film that has been written and directed by Mariama Diallo. Three women strive to find their place in an elite northeastern university as old as the country. When anonymous racist attacks targets a black freshman who insists she's being haunted by ghosts of the school's past, which women must determine where the real menace lies. I thought this movie was pretty good, practically enjoyable in a way. Now, before I watched this film, I've heard some controversy, some commentary, and even some complaints about this film, but all that kind of led towards of this film being a horror film and just certain elements and certain little pieces of the story that fed into this franchise that really didn't play a part well when it comes to the closure. I can agree mostly to what the critics is saying to the about this film, because after me watching it, not only did I enjoy it, but I was very disappointed of just how everything just went under the rug of just me not having everything figured out. And that needs to be talked about, and that needs to be addressed with a good film like this that had potential. The film starts off pretty slowly, but that's very necessary with a horror thriller film like this, because if we're going to watch a horror thriller film, we need something that's going to be important. And that is us caring about the characters' variation, their dialogue, and their choices of this whole film being put together, especially if they're going to be main characters. And I have to give big kudos to Regina Hall's character, Gail. She plays as the main head honcho supervisor of the school itself, which is the master, what they say. I loved her character a lot. She pulled her weight. She carried like practically 50% of the whole film itself. And what I liked about her is that not only that they show her the certain elements of how we are going to introduce with her character when she is in the school, handling certain people's choices by other classmates coming in her office and talking to her about certain things that they're having problems dealing with, and she's handling these situations in a very respectable manner. But she grows into us by us seeing how she is when it comes to her being under pressure outside of school, her being haunted as well by certain things going on around the school, even in her house, and just the tough decisions that she has to make, not just by her being in the school, but just by her being around other people from the outside district. I thought that her character was great. In fact, I have not seen a film that she was in that was very, like, her performance was powerful like this. It needs to be talked about, because she carried the whole film for me to the point where it was not just believable, but it was also relatable. Is it Oscar worthy? It can be a debate, especially how things fell apart when it comes to certain elements of this film of what I mentioned before in the headline. But that's not Regina Hall's fault. I feel like what they have given her into this film was very, very good, and it needs to be talked about, and it needs to be praised. Zora Neye's character as Jasmine Moore, she has also blew me away. She's the other 50% of what carried the film for me in a student aspect. And I thought that was interesting, because if we're going to see things in Regina Hall's eyes, let's see things in a student's eyes. And to be honest with you, Zora Neye's character Jasmine, her experience was actually not just better, but it was actually more horrific, because she doesn't just go through the pressures of her being a student. She's going through certain obstacles of her being in a class, and she has to go through certain tests, and it's kind of difficult for her. But this is where the racial white supremacist comes in with her character. So her acting has to be on the edge of our seat. And let's just say I did not like how she was being treated. I did not like the things that was thrown into her character, but that's what made me look at her in a whole big manner of me picking her through a thick ass microscope, because her character has done things that I would have done, because I was in a few colleges myself, and there was times where I was pointing out with my race, and so I was like picking through this, and her character, man, it really knocked it off the park for me. And I really felt bad for her. It really pissed me off of how they was treating her, especially when she has not done anything wrong and she was trying to make sense to it. Her acting was great. And when things was beginning to really get crazy, that was when I was really on the edge of the seat with her character. To be fair here, I don't really know about Zoe Renee's filmography. I'm gonna have to keep an eye on her because the way how great her character was on this film, I have to see more of her projects. As we get pulled into the film and when things gets deeper and more darker, we are introduced with the white supremacist actions to these characters and a certain horrific aspects that gets pulled and get mixed into this film itself. Now, I did like it into a mixed degree, and what I liked about it was the fact that they have mixed this up into the film where it did make sense, and it did open some elements to the film where it really wanted me to know more about what was really going on. Why was these people acting this way towards Regina Hall and towards Zoe Renee's character? Even though racism does exist, as long as we look different, we dress different, we talk different, there's going to be some stereotypical criticism. That's just normal life. But what I did pick on was the fact that it was in a way where it was intentional, where it was debatable, where it was comparable to the point where it showed you how the white supremacists really did act upon and how they really did look towards blacks, like comparing them into a death, into an ant dying. And I mean an insect ant. Comparing our death of an African American and them acting like it was really nothing to even be bothered with. I was really like on the hinges. I was like, oh man, this is really making me feel uncomfortable. But this is the world we live in, and people like that really do exist. No matter how far you want to go back into the days where these things was actually happening, these things are happening even more crazier now. And it's not something that I like, it's just something that people need to be aware of. And what I like also is that the fact that they show horror elements of certain things that happen in the school when it comes to certain slave activity, certain people that was haunted by these white supremacist acts, and it really cost them their lives, it cost them their tragedy. And it blown me away to the point where I'm actually surprised that people have not made films like this before. And if they did, I have not heard of them. And the reason why I'm saying that is because even though this is a creative film when it comes to the potential and the aspect of us getting pulled in by the elemental strategies of how people make these choices when they're under pressure, but it makes me wonder, what is more scary? What is more horrific? You being in a school of racist people that does not like your nationality, or you being in a school stuck with paranormal activity? They got that both here in this film. So it doesn't really matter what your biggest fear is. They got that both here. And this is where I have to talk about what I don't like about the film. Even though this film was great, even though this film has great potential, they showed certain elements of this film, especially when it comes to the visual aspects of the paranormal activity of certain people, certain blacks that was in this school or just was in the building before it was a school itself, going through white supremacists, going through slavery, going through certain things that they was being tortured with. They showed these certain things here, and I was hoping that they would show more of it so Regina Hall and Zoe Renee's character can get pulled in, so we can get pulled in of how they was going to make these decisions of what they want to do, if they want to stay in the school or leave the school. But they left it alone. They did not go further within it. And I was like, what was the point of you showing us this stuff if you're not going to explain or go further into what they was visionizing? And it was a disappointing thing to me because you had great potential here. You had great visualities. I mean, you know this because you showed this. So y'all just left it there, or y'all just decided to say that, all right, look, this is good the way it is. It's just, no, okay? The movie is good, but it could have been a lot better. And in fact, people would have been talking about this even more if y'all would have just fleshed out what you were showing us instead of just giving us the material and then cutting it up to the point where it's like unquestionable and we can't make sense of it, to the point where you literally just, I think I made my point already. Another issue I'm going to talk about, and this may come across of what I just mentioned by them cutting away certain little aspects of us getting pulled in. The film ain't scary at all. It's not. It's not scary for the slightest. Now y'all know I get scared easily. If I can get scared watching Law and Order, anything can scare me, okay? This film is not scary. In fact, I'm kind of wondering why this film is rated R. There's no nudity. There's a few little... Oh, yeah, there's... Yeah, white people say the N-word a lot on here. But... But other than the scares, the horror aspect, and I did see the trailer too. This is really a false advertisement of this film being scary, and you getting pulled in, of you just trying to watch something that will make you have a hard time sleeping at night. No. You want to watch this to get scared? This is a hard pass. But if you want to watch this for good tension and for good chemistry of these characters, especially with Gina Hall and Zorane's character, yeah. This is something for you guys to be recommended with. I'm going to have to give Master... Give me a second. I'm trying to think. What rating should I give this film? I'm trying to think real hard. Because I was going to give it an A. But that's too high. I was going to give it a B, but that's too low. I might have to give it a rating that I never gave in a film before. I'm going to have to give Master a B+. Does that even exist? Does that even freaking exist? I don't know. But it exists now because I got it. I've never seen a B+ before. I'm pretty sure it exists. I need to stop playing. Other than that, that's all I have to say for today. Please stay tuned for more upcoming reviews and videos headed your way. This is Hugo, your critic teacher. And have a good day.